I died, choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as the brakes failed on that rain-slicked highway outside Seattle. My parents' faces flashed in my mind, not with love, but with the smug satisfaction I'd glimpsed in their eyes the last time we'd spoken, when they disinherited me for being a disappointment. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my 22-year-old body. 3 years earlier, heart pounding in the chest of the girl who hadn't yet built an empire they'd try to steal. The first breath I took after waking up in that cramped dorm room at the University of Washington felt like fire ripping through my lungs. It was orientation week. The air thick with the scent of fresh-cut grass and overpriced coffee from the campus quad. My hands, smaller, unscarred, gripped the edges of the twin bed, nails digging into the thin mattress as the memories crashed over me like a tidal wave. The accident. The betrayal. The way my so-called family had twisted the knife long after I'd flatlined. I was Brooklyn Hayes. Or at least that's the name they'd slapped on me when they adopted me at 5. Fresh off the boat from some foster hellhole in Portland. Back then, they were the golden couple, Richard Hayes, tech mogul with a jawline sharp enough to cut glass, and Evelyn, his trophy wife who could charm a boardroom or a PDA meeting with the same Botox smile. They already had their golden boy, my brother Ethan, 2 years my junior, the one who could do no wrong. Me? I was the spare part, the charity case they paraded at galas to boost their progressive image. But here's the secret they buried deeper than my adoption papers. I wasn't just some kid they pitted. At 18, I'd hacked together a little app in my dorm room, a stupid idea for streamlining freelance gigs in the gig economy. Something to pay for my textbooks. It blew up. Overnight, GigForge became the backbone of half the startups in Silicon Valley. By 22, I'd funneled every dime back into it, turning it into a billion-dollar beast. And I'd done it all under a shell company. Anonymous. Because Richard had made it clear. Hayes' blood builds empires. Brooklyn. Not strays. They never knew. Or, at least, they pretended not to. Until the end. In my first life, I'd come crawling back after a bad breakup, thinking family meant something. Big mistake. Richard had sniffed out my success, cornered me in his study with that predatory gleam. Sign it over, he'd said, sliding papers across the desk. For the family, Evelyn had chimed in with her crocodile tears about Ethan's future. When I refused, the brakes on my Audi went soft that night. Coincidence? Bullshit. The NTSB report called it mechanical failure. But I knew better. I'd seen the email trail too late, Richard's assistant wiring cash to a shady mechanic in Tacoma. Now, here I was, reborn in 2022. The app's still just a beta on my laptop. 3 years to rewrite the script. 3 years to make them pay without burning the whole world down. Or maybe I would. The rage simmered low in my gut, a constant hum that made my skin itch. I wasn't the wide-eyed kid anymore. Death had stripped away the illusions, leaving only the bones of truth. They weren't parents. They were parasites. First things first, secure the bag. I couldn't let GigForge slip through my fingers again. That night, after the welcome barbecue where freshmen chugged cheap beer and pretended they weren't terrified, I locked myself in the room I shared with a girl named Mia. Bless her. She was out cold from jet lag. My fingers flew over the keyboard, the familiar clack echoing like gunfire. I rerouted the code, embedded trackers in the user data streams. No more blind trust in open source hosts. This time, every login, Every transaction would ping back to an encrypted server in my name only. Brooklyn Hayes, sole proprietor. Let them try to steal it now. But revenge isn't just code, it's personal. I needed eyes on them. Richard was already climbing his innovative consulting firm, sucking venture capital like a vampire at a blood bank. Evelyn was playing suburban saint, heading the local women's shelter while ignoring the maid she underpaid. And Ethan? Little Prince Ethan. Just starting high school. All dimples and debate club trophies. In my first life, he'd been the knife they twisted deepest, standing silent at my funeral, inheriting the scraps they doled out. I drove home that weekend, the I-5 stretching like a vein under gray skies. The family estate in Bellevue loomed as I pulled up, all glass and steel, a monument to Richard's ego. Evelyn answered the door in yoga pants and a cashmere sweater, her hug stiff as starched linen. Brookie, what a surprise. Ethan's at soccer. Come in. Darling. Richard was in his office, feet up on a desk that cost more than my tuition. He barely looked up from his Bloomberg terminal. Grades good. Gruff. Like he cared.
Straight A's. I lied.
Because why not start small? We ate dinner, kale salad and salmon flown in from Alaska. Because God forbid we eat like normals. Conversation flowed like molasses. Ethan's latest goal. Evelyn's charity auction. Richard's big meeting with some VC firm. I nodded. Smiled. Played the part. But inside, I cataloged every micro-expression. The way Richard's eyes flicked to his phone when Evelyn mentioned my art major, as if coding was doodling. The subtle curl of her lip when I passed the wine without a thank you. That night, I slipped into Ethan's room while they slept. He was 14, sprawled under Star Wars sheets, snoring softly. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching him. In my memories, he'd grown into their perfect echo, charming, ruthless. But this Ethan? Innocent. Maybe. Or just a better actor. Wake up, I whispered, hand over his mouth as his eyes snapped open in panic. Brooke? What the? Shut up and listen. My voice was steel. The one I'd honed in boardrooms that never existed yet. I'm going to tell you a story about the future. And if you breathe a word, I'll bury you with it. I spun the tale in fragments. The app. The empire. The crash. His face paled under the nightlight glow, eyes wide like saucers. You're either with me or against me, Ethan. Family's a lie they taught us. Pick your side. He swallowed hard, whispering, I'm with you. They treat you like shit. Brooke. I see it. Liar? Maybe. But I filed it away. Seeds planted. The drive back to campus was silent, rain pattering on the windshield like accusations. GigForge hit 1,000 users by month's end. I skipped classes for investor calls, voice modulated through a VPN, pitching to suits in Palo Alto who thought I was some Ivy League bro. Money poured in, seed rounds, angel investments. I funneled it into offshore accounts, layers upon layers. No traces to Bellevue. Months blurred. Mia became my sounding board, oblivious to the war brewing. You're like a ghost, she'd say, watching me code till dawn. What's the rush? I'd laugh it off. But the dreams haunted me, twisted metal. Richard's voice on speakerphone, she signed, right before the world went black. By sophomore year, the betrayals roots showed. Richard's firm partnered with a freelance platform, mine, Indirectly. He bragged at Thanksgiving, fork spearing turkey like a conquest. Gig Forge? That's the one. Revolutionizing the market. If only we had an in. His eyes on me, probing. Evelyn laughed too loud. Brookie's too busy with her paints. I smiled.
Sweet as pie.
Actually,
Dad.
I know the founder. Small world. His fork paused. Gotcha. That Christmas, I gifted Ethan a laptop, custom rig, backdoored to mirror his every keystroke. For your essays, I said. He grinned, hugged me tight. Data flowed, searches for inheritance laws, tech valuations, paranoia, or prescience. Either way, it fueled me. Spring break. I flew to San Francisco incognito. Met my first investor face-to-face, a sharp-eyed woman named Lena from Sequoia. She shook my hand, gloved, voice deepener off of the meat, and said, "You're not what I expected." Brooklyn. I smirked. Expectations are overrated. We closed a Series A that night. 20 million. Enough to buy silence. Or swords. Back home, the tension thickened. Evelyn suggested therapy. You're so distant.
Dear.
Richard grilled me on boyfriends. Like my womb was his next merger.
Ethan?
He cornered me in the garage one night. Voice cracking. Is it true? About the crash? I told him enough to hook him. Not drown him. Stay clean, I warned. Or swim with the sharks. Summer hit like a heat wave. I interned at a startup in Seattle, cover for building GigForge's AI backbone. Code that would predict user burnout. Optimize payouts. Make it indispensable. Irreplaceable.
Me.
By August, valuations whispered at $500 mil. Whispers reached Richard. I saw it in his text to Evelyn. Hacked via Ethan's phone. Kid's onto something. We need to loop her in. Loop me in? Like a dog on a leash.
No.
The plan crystallized then. Over IPAs at a dive bar with Mia. Step 1. Amplify the empire. Step 2. Bait the trap. Step 3. Spring it at the worst or best moment. Ethan's graduation. 3 years away. Perfect symmetry. But revenge simmers. It doesn't stay cold forever. A decision loomed. Controversial as hell. Leak a prototype to a rival. Not enough to kill GigForge, but to draw Richard's firm into a bidding war. I'd pose as a whistleblower. Anonymous tip to the press. It'd tank their stock. Force a buyout. Moral? Screw it. They taught me family first. I'd teach them survival. The leak dropped on a Tuesday. Headline screamed, GigForge insider spills. Hayes Consulting poaches tech. Richard's face on CNBC. Red as a beet. Denying everything. Evelyn called. Hysterical. Is this you? Tell me it's not. I feigned shock.
Mom.
I'd never. Ethan texted. Holy shit. Dad's losing it. Good. Let the cracks show. Fall semester. I dated a guy, Jake. Poli-sci major with a trust fund and zero clue. Buffer against their prying. He was sweet. In that puppy way. But I kept him at arm's length. No distractions. GigForge crossed 1 million users. Forbes speculated, ghost CEO behind gig economy goldmine? Richard invited me to dinner. Proud of you, kid. Lies dripped like honey. I played along, toasting to family legacies. Inside, the countdown ticked. Winter break 2023. Snow blanketed Bellevue like a shroud, muffling the world outside the Hayes estate. I'd grown into my skin this time, sharper cheekbones from skipped meals, eyes harder from sleepless nights. GigForge was a juggernaut now, powering apps for Uber knockoffs and Amazon's underbelly. My net worth? Pushing 8 figures, all salted away in trusts with names like Pacific Shadow LLC. Untraceable.
Ironclad.
The family dinner was a minefield. Ethan, 15 and lanky, shoveled mashed potatoes while stealing glances at me. He'd bulked up from soccer, but the fear lingered in his slouch. Richard dominated the table, regaling us with tales of his turnaround after the leak scandal. Bought low, sold high. That's business. Evelyn. She nodded, her pearls clicking like rosary beads. But her eyes darted to me, accusatory.
Hungry.
After dessert, Evelyn's infamous pecan pie, laced with enough bourbon to fell a horse, I excused myself to the study. Richard followed, closing the door with a soft click that echoed like a guillotine. Brooklyn. Sit. I perched on the leather armchair, legs crossed, the picture of poise. What's up?
Dad.
He paced, hands clasped behind his back, his tell for when the wolf was circling. This GigForge thing. You're involved, aren't you?
Direct.
No bullshit. In my first life, I'd crumbled here, confessed over tears and Cabernet. Not this time. I tilted my head, feigning confusion.
Me?
I'm an art major. Remember? Finger paints and existential dread. He chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Come on. I've seen your laptop. Late nights, encrypted chats. You're smarter than that.
Kid.
Smarter than us. Flattery. The hook. I let silence stretch. Then, hypothetically. What if I was? What then? His smile widened, shark-like. Then we'd partner. Hayes Consulting integrates it. We take it public. Billions. Brooklyn. For the family. There it was, the pitch. Ethan's future. My security. Evelyn's charities. The whole dog and pony show. I stood, slow, meeting his gaze. Family?
Huh.
Like how you partnered with that startup last year. The one that mysteriously folded after you gutted their IP. His face twitched. I'd done my homework, court filings, buried emails. Hypothetically, he recovered fast. Business is war. You win or you lose. War, I echoed, tasting the word. Then count me in as an ally.
Lie.
Sweet as pie. We shook on it, his grip crushing, mine steady. Victory tasted like ash. Ethan cornered me later in the hallway, whispering fierce. You didn't tell him, right? About everything? I ruffled his hair. Brotherly. Not yet.
Squirt.
But keep your nose clean. Eyes everywhere. He nodded, but doubt flickered. Trust was a luxury I couldn't afford, not even for blood. Back at school, the real work ramped up. I hired ghosts, freelancers via dark web drops. Coders in Eastern Europe who built kill switches into GigForge's core. One wrong move from Hayes Consulting, and the platform bricks. Users locked out. Data wiped. Poetic justice. Mia noticed the shift. You're scaring me.
Brooke.
It's like you're plotting a coup. We were at our usual haunt, the Husky Den, nursing flat whites amid hungover undergrads. I laughed it off, just capstone stress, but she pressed.
No. Seriously.
That dinner with your folks? You came back. Different. Colder. Different.
Dead.
More like. Family's complicated, I said, staring into the foam. Complicated like Evelyn's affair with the pool boy in 24, or Richard's offshore slush fund for bribing regulators. I'd uncovered it all in my first life. Too late to matter.
Now?
Ammo. Spring brought blooms and betrayals. Jake proposed a weekend in the San Juans, romantic, clueless. I went, because why not play normal? But on the ferry, phone buzzing, Ethan's text.
Dad's digging. Hired a PI.
Your name's on some filings. Panic spiked, then settled. I'd anticipated this. The PI, a gumshoe named Harlan, ex-cop with a gambling habit, got fed disinformation, fake LLCs tying GigForge to a non-existent Indian startup. He chased shadows while I consolidated power. Richard called mid-hike. Whidbey Island's cliffs dropping sharp to the sea. Progress on that hypothetical? Eager now. Scenting blood. Soon, I promised. But I need assurances. NDAs. Equity split, 60-40 my favor. He balked. Then agreed. Family discount. We both knew it wasn't family, it was leverage. By summer, the merger talks heated. I flew to Bellevue quarterly. Suits tailored in NYC. Hair in a no-nonsense bob. Evelyn cooed over my glow-up, slipping passive-aggressive barbs about settling down. Ethan? He thrived in the tension, acing AP classes. But late-night pings showed his searches. How to hide assets from parents. Kid was learning. The controversial call came in July. GigForge's valuation hit $300 mil. A rival, Flexwork, backed by BlackRock, offered a buyout.
Tempting.
Cash out. Vanished to Bali. Let the haze rot.
But no.
That was weakness. Instead, I greenlit a feature. Equity shares for users. Controversial as hell, giving gig workers stock options. Diluting investor control. The press exploded. GigForge socialist stunt. VCs howled. But users flocked. Loyalty locked in. Richard fumed in emails. This kills the deal. My reply. Adapt or die. Dad. Fall 2023. Junior year. Jake dumped me. You're married to your phone. Freeing me fully. Mia and I road tripped to Portland, blasting Taylor Swift. But my mind mapped contingencies. If Richard pushes too hard, activate the leak on his bribes. If Evelyn turns maternal, remind her of the maid's lawsuit she buried. Thanksgiving. Storm clouds gathered. Richard unveiled his masterstroke. We're acquiring a stake in GigForge. Officially. Over turkey. He beamed. Evelyn toasted. Ethan choked on his wine. I raised my glass. Smile razor thin. To acquisitions. Post-meal. In the den. He slid the papers over. Standard boilerplate. But buried clauses. Full control transfer upon integration. My empire. Gift wrapped for him. Sign, he urged. Secure our future.
Our.
Not mine. I scanned the fine print. Heart steady. One tweak. Arbitration in Delaware. My lawyer's review. He bristled. Your lawyers? We're family. Precisely. I initialed a dummy page. Watermarked in visible ink. Scanning tech, I'd coded myself. The real doc? Already shredded in my purse. Ethan slipped me a note later. He's lying about the terms. Saw the real one. Ally? Or pawn? Time would tell. Winter deepened the divide. Gigforge sued a competitor for IP theft, mine orchestrated to mirror Richard's tactics. He called, raging. This reflect poorly on us.
Us.
As if I needed his brand. New Year's Eve. I partied in Vegas, anonymous. High-rolling on crypto wins. Fireworks burst over the strip. But my toast was silent. To the end of illusions. Sophomore, wait. Junior, slump hit. A user revolt over payout delays, sabotaged by Flexwork hackers. I quashed it with transparency. Live audits. My face blurred on a podcast. Gigforge is worker first, I declared. Richard texted, reckless. Pull back. I ignored him. Spring 2024. Ethan turned 16, license in hand. He drove me to the airport after a tense Easter, Evelyn's passive-aggressive brunch about grandbabies. In the car, he cracked, I hacked Dad's email. He's meeting with Flexwork. Wants to flip you. Ice in my veins. Proof. He handed over a USB. Screenshots. Timestamps. Betrayal. Round 2. I hugged him fierce. You're in deep now.
Kid.
No outs. His grin was mine, feral. Wouldn't have it any other way. The flight to SF was turbulent, matching my gut. Lena at Sequoia pulled me aside post-pitch. Hayes is circling. Cut ties. Working on it, I said. That night, I activated Phase 2, see doubt. Anonymous dossier to Richard's board, hints of his bribes. Flexwork flirtations. Stock dipped 8%. Chaos. Summer internship. Cover for War Room. I built the crown jewel, AI predictor for market crashes. Licensed exclusively to Gigforge clients. Not Hayes. Richard's calls turned pleading. Let's talk equity. 50/50ths. 40 to 60, I countered. Power shift. Evelyn's play came sly. Spa day. Mimosas. We're worried.
Brookie.
This obsession. It's not healthy. Code 4. Hand it over. Or else. I sipped. Smiled. Motherhood suits you. Ever think about that nanny? The one who quit after the accident? Her face blanched. Bingo. The maid's kid. Fallen downstairs, Evelyn's clumsy help. Covered up. Another skeleton. Fall 2024. Senior year loomed. Ethan started college apps, UW. Like me. Gonna major in comp sci, he said over FaceTime. Learn from the best. Pride swelled. Unbidden. Maybe redemption existed. But Richard escalated. Hired Harlan again. This time for dirt. The PI cornered Mia at a bar. Tell me about Brooklyn's late nights. She's stonewalled, loyal to the end. I paid her tuition anonymously. Grateful didn't cover it. Thanksgiving redux.
Stormier.
Richard cornered me in the garage. Breath, whiskey sour. Sign the goddamn papers. Or I'll expose you. Every hack. Every shadow corp. Threat. Primal. In my first life, it had broken me. Now,
Fuel.
I leaned in, voice low. Expose me, and your bribes hit the times. Flexwork deal?
Dead.
Your legacy? Toilet paper.
Stalemate.
His eyes cold. Calculating, mirrored mine.
War.
Then. Been there. Lost that, I whispered. This time, I win. Ethan overheard. Later confessing. I recorded it. Insurance. Brother. Maybe. Winter break, calm before. Gig Forge valued at $800 mil. I partied. NY in Times Square. Crowd surfing anonymity. But dreams returned. The crash. Sirens wailing. 2025 dawned bloody. Richard's board ousted him. My dossier's work. He blamed me. Of course. Called sobbing. Help me.
Kid.
For family. I hung up. Controversial? Hell yes. But mercies for suckers. Ethan's graduation neared. Stage set. January 2025. Frost clung to the evergreens like accusations as I drove the I-5 south from Seattle. The heater blasting against the chill seeping into my bones. Gig Forge was a colossus now, $1.2 billion valuation. Users in every state. Powering the invisible workforce that kept America humming. I'd turned down acquisition offers from Google and Microsoft. Each rejection a spike in Richard's blood pressure. He was a ghost of himself, unshaven, chain-smoking in his study. The empire he built crumbling under lawsuits from pissed-off clients. Flex work had imploded after my leaks, ironic. Their CEO indicted for fraud I'd anonymously tipped off the SEC. Evelyn held the facade, hosting brunches for Bellevue's elite. But her hands shook pouring mimosas. Whispers circled. Hayes' marriage on the rocks. She blamed me. Of course, texts laced with guilt trips. Your father's breaking. Brooklyn. Come home. As if I owed them my sanity. Ethan was the wild card. 16. Driver's license gleaming like a badge. He navigated high school with a swagger that mirrored my own at that age. Our late-night calls were strategy sessions. Dad's desperate. Talking bankruptcy. His voice steady. But I heard the crack, the kid caught in crossfire. You okay? I'd ask. Fine, he'd lie. Just. Don't hate me if I crack. I don't hate you, I'd say. Truth. Mostly. He'd chosen sides early, feeding me intel that kept me steps ahead. But trust? Fragile as spun glass. Campus life blurred into irrelevance. I graduated early, May 25, summa cum laude in computer science, art minor as cover. Commencement was a blur of gowns and grins. Mia hugging me tearful. You're a machine?
Brooke.
What's next? World domination, I quipped. Privately, vengeance. Post-grad, I vanished into a loft in Pioneer Square, exposed brick. Puget Sound views. Funded by Gig Forge dividends. No more dorms. No more Hayes holidays. Jake reappeared. Drunk dialing apologies, I blocked him. Mia crashed often. Our bond the one untainted thread. Richard's olive branch came in June. Lunch at Canlis. The glass-walled perch overlooking the city lights. He arrived late. Ty askew. Evelyn absent. Truce, he offered over seared scallops. Voice gravelly. I sipped my Pinot Noir. Unmoved. Define truce. Drop the board poison. I sign off on Gig Forge, as is your baby. In exchange, Hayes Consulting gets a licensing deal. Fair. Fair. The word tasted like bile. In my first life, I'd bitten hook,
Line.
sinker. This time, Add Ethan's trust fund. Bulletproof. And Evelyn's charities? Audited clean. His eyes narrowed. Demanding. Non-negotiable. We shook. But I knew. Paper tigers. My lawyers, sharks from Cooley, gutted the deal overnight, exposing clauses that had gutted me control in 5 years. He exploded via voicemail. You little bitch. After everything. Everything? The adoption fees they wrote off. The allowance that barely covered ramen? I deleted it. Forwarded to Ethan. Fuel for the fire. Summer sweltered. GigForge launched Forge Equity. The controversial stock program expanded nationwide. Gig workers picketed Wall Street, chanting my blurred-face slogan, "Own the grind." Critics screamed socialism. Supporters hailed revolution. Valuation spiked to $1.50 bill. Richard's stock? Penny status. Evelyn's countermove, emotional warfare. She showed up at my loft unannounced. Rain-soaked. Mascara rivers. Brookie.
Please.
Your father's drinking. Ethan's acting out, skipping practice. We're losing everything. I let her in. Brewed tea like a dutiful daughter. She sobbed into my shoulder. First real touch in years. We love you. We do.
Love.
The word hung.
Poisoned.
Then why the PI? Why the flexwork meet? She froze. How? Doesn't matter. I handed her a tissue. Sign this NDA. Admit the bribes. The cover-ups. Clean slate. Her eyes widened. Horror. Calculation. Blackmail. Justice. Controversial? Utterly. But she taught me, family protects its own. Even from itself. She fled, slamming the door. Ethan's text followed. Mom's a wreck. Told Dad. He's coming for you. Let him. August heatwave. I retreated to the San Juans, cabins and kayaks with Mia, unplugging for sanity's sake. But the call came, Harlan. The PI. On a burner. Hayes wants dirt. Pay me double. I'll flip. Tempting. But double agents burn hot.
Triple.
And bury the flex files. Deal struck. Harlan fed Richard fakes, me with mob ties. GigForge laundering. Richard bit. Leaking to the press. Backlash? GigForge stock soared. Smear campaign backfires. My net worth. $900 mil. Ethan's birthday bash. Pool party at the estate. Teens cannonballing while Richard brooded by the grill. I arrived late. Gift in hand, a encrypted drive with his college fund. Seated with GigForge shares. Yours, I said, pulling him aside. Not theirs. He teared up. Hugging awkward.
Brooke.
Thanks. For believing. Always. Squirt. Momentary thaw. Then Richard stormed over. Beer in fist. A word. By the pool house. Shadows long. You're destroying us. For what? Some app. Legacy. I spat. You stole mine once. Won't again. His laugh bitter. Stole? We gave you a name. A home. A cage. The words hung. Sirens wailed distant. Fireworks? Or fate? September. Ethan's senior year. College apps poured in Stanford.
Mit.
He aced SATs, but stress etched lines on his face. What if they cut me off? He whispered during a coffee run. They won't. I've got contingencies. Trusts. Escapes. Safety nets woven tight. GigForge's IPO loomed, November. Targeted. Roadshow in NYC, me in panels. Voice modulated. Pitching to hedge funds. The future of work is equitable. Applause thundered. Richard crashed one. Uninvited. Cornering me backstage. Drop the IPO. Merge now. Or I go nuclear. Nuclear? I arched a brow. Full disclosure. Your adoption not clean. Foster records show. Issues. Issues. The vague threat, my past. The abuse scars they'd buried to keep optics pristine. Pain twisted. Old wounds.
Try it.
My story sells better. He backed off. But the seed planted. Dig deeper. October chill. Leaves turned, mirroring my mood. Mia moved in temporarily. Roomy reunion. Her graphic design gig syncing with my empire. We binge-watched Succession, laughing at the Roy family parallels. Yours are worse, she joked. Flatterer. But truth stung. Evelyn's final play, Therapy Ambush. She booked a session with her shrink. Dragged me along. For healing, she cooed. The doc, slick. Ivy probed gently. Family dynamics? I hijacked it. Like when mom covered up child endangerment. Or dad's SEC violations. Silence crashed. Evelyn bolted. Doc stammered ethics. I walked. Lighter. Ethan's homecoming game, I showed. Cheering from bleachers. He scored the winner. Crowd roaring. Post-game. High fives turned to whispers. Dad's selling the house. To pay debts. Checkmate nearing. November. IPO week. Markets jittery. Recession whispers. I locked in at $2 bill open. Shares soared 40%. Richard's calls, desperate. Congrats. Now help.
No. Simple.
Thanksgiving. Last family dinner? Table tense.
Turkey dry.
Evelyn's silent. Richard pickled. Ethan bridged gaps. Jokes falling flat. Post-meal. Explosion. Richard hurled accusations. You leaked everything. Fist slamming table. I stood calm. Prove it. Evelyn cracked. She's ruining us. For spite. Spite. I laughed.
Cold.
Try survival. Ethan intervened. Enough. Brooke's right, you're toxic. Shock rippled. Richard lunged, verbal. Not physical but security, my higher. Discreet, appeared. Time to go. Sir. Evicted from my own war. December dawned. Ethan's graduation, June 25. But prep started. Invites out. Venue booked, UW Dome. Irony thick. I RSVP'd.
+1 Mia.
Behind scenes. Final pieces. Harlan's full dossier. Evelyn's affair, not pool boy. Richard's partner. Richard's tax havens. Twist. Ethan's birth cert, not Richard's bio kid. Affair spawn.
Bomb.
But deploy? Controversial. Destroy the boy to gut the parents? Wrestle night long.
Mercy won barely.
Leak partials. Anonymized. Press hit pre-grad. Hayes scandal. Infidelity. Fraud. Stock cratered. Richard resigned. Evelyn checked into wellness. Ethan called. Voice small. Saw the news.
It's
Mom's. Partial truth. I soothed. You're still Hayes. If you want. He laughed.
broken. Nah.
I'm Brooklyn's brother. Heart cracked. Maybe family reborn. Graduation loomed. My reveal scripted. on stage. Mic in hand, truth drop. Empire mine. There's
Dust.
but twist brewed, Richard's last gambit. Harlan warned, he's got a tape. You? Confessing the hack. Bluff or real?
Time to end it.
January thawed into February's relentless gray. The kind of Pacific Northwest drear that mirrors a soul stripped bare. Ethan's graduation was 4 months out, but the air crackled with the storm's approach. My storm. Meticulously engineered. GigForge post-IPO was a rocket. Shares at $85. My stake alone worth north of $1 billion. Forbes crowned me the shadow queen of Silicon Valley, speculating on my invisibility. A collective? A ghost? Or the ultimate power play? If only they knew the ghost part was literal. Richard had gone to ground. Holed up in a condo downtown. Lawyered to the gills against SEC probes. My partial leaks had done their job, headlines screaming, Hayes' empire in freefall, but he'd clawed back some ground. Spinning a redemption arc on Fox Business. Family first. Always. Gutsy. Considering the family he'd nearly erased. Evelyn? Spa hopping in Scottsdale. Posting self-care selfies that fooled no one. Her charities distanced. Donors fleeing like rats. She called once. Voice slurry pills? Booze? Begging. Come see me.
Brookie.
Make it right. I hung up. Right was a fairy tale. Ethan anchored the chaos. High school wound down. Prom king buzz building. He crashed my loft weekly, devouring takeout while we plotted. What if they crash the ceremony, he mused one night. Feet on my coffee table. Xbox controller idle. They won't, but doubt nod. Harlan's warning echoed. The tape. I'd scoured my memories, no confession. First life? Maybe desperation's spilled lips. This one?
Clean. Still.
I prepped. Deepfakes ready. Lawyers on speed dial. Mia integrated seamless. Her art gracing GigForge's rebrand, bold lines. Worker fists raised. Therapy through pixels, she quipped.
Our trio, me.
Her. Ethan felt like something real. Unscripted. February frostbite. Richard surfaced. Certified letter. Demanding arbitration. Breach of verbal agreement. The truce lunch. My lawyers shredded it. Statute of frauds. No witnesses. Counter. Sue for defamation. His smears. Court date. March. Federal in Seattle. I testified cool. Cross-exam unyielding. Mr. Hayes sought control of my IP. I declined. Richard's turn. Red-faced. Sputtering about ingratitude. Jury smelled bullshit. Settlement favored me. $10 mil. His silence clause. Post-verdict. He cornered me in the hall. Security hovering. You win this round. Brooklyn. But blood's thicker. Blood. I sneered. Yours or the pool boys? He paled. Shuffling off. Victory.
Pyrrhic.
Spring bloomed violent. Ethan aced finals. Valedictorian luck. Prom, he went stag. Suit sharp. My gift. Photos showed him grinning free. Almost. But calls grew strained. Mom's spiraling. Texts non-stop. Block her, I advised. Focus on you. GigForge controversies peaked. Senate hearing on gig worker rights. I testified remote. Face shadowed.
This isn't charity.
It's capitalism evolved. Dems cheered. GOP grumbled woke nonsense. Valuation dipped. Then rebounded. $2.5 bill. Power. Evelyn's rock bottom. DUI in Arizona. Mugshot viral. She checked into rehab, Malibu. High-end. Richard visited. Paparazzi snapping. Ethan watched the clip.
Silent.
Hate this, he muttered. Me too.
Lie.
Schadenfreude soured sweet. April showers. I dated casually a barista with tattoos. No strings. Distraction from the itch. Reveal day. Script polished. Post-speech. Projector rolls, docs. Emails. The crash report I'd forged with NTSB holes. My family tried to kill me for this. Gasp factor max. But ethics tugged. Controversial pivot. Offer mercy clause. Sign over claims. I pull punches. Expose minimal. Ethan nixed it. They don't deserve. Kids rage outburn mine. May madness. Graduation rehearsals. Ethan nailed his speech, future at Stanford.
Comp sci.
Inspired by my sister, he practiced, eyes shining. Crowd pleaser. Richard RSVP'd. Evelyn, too. Post-rehab glow. Trap sprung. Pre-party. Loft dinner. Mia cooked pasta. Ethan brought cake. Laughter flowed, rare.
Genuine.
To empires, I toasted. And brothers, he added. Heart swelled. Maybe happy ending possible. But dawn brought Harlan. Tapes reel. From a burner call. Year ago. You. Drunk. Admitting the leak. Impossible. I'd never wait. First life bleed?
No.
Sabotage. Destroy it, I ordered. Price, his retirement fund.
Done.
June heat wave. Graduation eve. Rehearsal dinner at the estate. Neutral ground. Richard hosted. Gaunt but groomed. Evelyn ethereal. Sober 6 weeks. Truce vibes.
Forced.
Toasts clinked. Richards. To Ethan. And family mending. Eyes on me. Challenge. Mine. To truths unspoken. Subtext thick. Ethan pulled me aside. They're clean. Scan the house, no wires. Paranoia peaked. Sleep evaded. Dreams of twisted metal. D-Day. UW Dome. 8 a.m. sun glinting off the roof. Families streamed in balloons. Screams. I sat front row. Mia beside. Ethan backstage prepping. Program dragged. Speeches. Awards. Ethan's turn. Poised. He nailed it. Gratitude to those who shaped me. Blood or chosen. Nod my way. Applause thundered. Diploma handoff. Dean to Ethan. Hugs. Then parents' row. Richard beaming. Evelyn teary. My turn?
No.
Invited as guest, but snub loomed. Intermission. Richard approached. Mic in hand, surprise MC, a word on family legacy.
Shit.
Improv revenge? He cleared throat. Voice booming. Ethan's success? Hayes blood. But we must acknowledge. Distractions. Eyes lock mine. Brooklyn. My adopted daughter.
Has.
Strayed. Embarrassed us with schemes. Today. We disown. Gasps rippled. Evelyn nodded. Performative tears. Crowd murmurs. Drama. Rage ignited.
My cue.
I surged on stage. Snatching the mic, security frozen. Stunned. Disown? Cute.
Dad.
But let's talk control. Projector whirs, my hack. Remote trigger. Screens blaze, emails, bribes, crash schematic. Gigforge?
Mine.
$2.5 billion. Your fortune? Smoke. I own Hayes Consulting Shell Core. Proxies. Every dime. Chaos erupts. Richard lunges. Guards haul him. Evelyn shrieks. Lies. Ethan joins me. Arm linked. Truth, he says. Mike live. I have the recordings. Crowd. Phones out. Viral imminent. Twist drops. Birth cert flash, Evelyn's affair. Not your son, Richard. But mine. Always.
Sobs. Faints.
Security swarms. I lean in. Voice steel. You killed me once. Tried again.
But death?
Best teacher. Fade to sirens, cops. For Richard's threats. Evelyn collapses. Genuine breakdown. Ethan hugs tight. We did it.
Did we?
The dome's echoes faded into a cacophony of shouts and camera flashes, the air thick with the metallic tang of betrayal laid bare. Richard thrashed against the security team's grip, face purpled with veins bulging like fault lines ready to crack the earth. You ungrateful whore. I'll sue, I'll ruin you. His words sprayed spittle. But the fight drained fast. Shoulders slumping as reality crashed. Empire gutted. Legacy ash. Evelyn curled fetal on the stage edge, keening like a wounded animal. Her rehab facade shattered. Medics swarmed, oxygen mask muffling her wails into pathetic wheezes. The crowd, 2,000 strong, families frozen mid-cheer, erupted into a frenzy, parents shielding kids' eyes. Grads live-streaming the meltdown. Ethan's classmates whooping like it was the finale of some trashy reality show. Mia gripped my hand from the wings, knuckles white, whispering, "Holy shit, Brooke. You actually did it." Ethan stood statue-still beside me, diploma clutched like a shield. His eyes, once soft with boyish doubt, now mirrored mine, hardened steel. "What now?" he asked, voice steady over the din.
Now.
I handed the mic to the shell-shocked dean, who fumbled it like a hot coal. We walk. Arm in arm. We descended the steps, flashes popping like gunfire. Reporters surged, local news vans screeching into the lot, but my security phalanx carved a path to the waiting Escalade. Sirens wailed distant.
Closing in.
Cops for Richard. Most likely, assault charges pending. My lawyer's already filing. The drive blurred. UW campus receding. Seattle skyline piercing low clouds like accusatory fingers. Ethan stared out the window, silent till we hit the freeway. The birth cert. That was low. Even for them. Was it? I glanced over. Traffic humming. They used you as bait. Twice. He nodded.
Slow. Yeah. But. Mom.
She's broken. Broken. Bitterness edged my laugh. She broke me first. The accidents, the gaslighting. Remember the nanny's kid? Evelyn's heels on the stairs. Oops. Covered with hush money from my app's first check. They stole my childhood.
Ethan.
Then tried for my life. He winced, rubbing his neck. I know. Just. Feels like ending a war by nuking the village. Kid had philosophy now. Stanford would sharpen it. Mercy's earned, I said. They chose spite. We chose survival. Mia? Shotgun. Twisted back. And the fortune? What's the play? Already done. I triggered the kill switch at dawn. Hayes Consulting servers bricked. Assets frozen under my proxies. Richard's empire. Redirected to a foundation. Gig Workers Relief Fund. Ironic poetry. Their fortune. Pooled investments. Real estate, tied to Gig Forge bonds I'd engineered. Pull one thread. The tapestry unravels. By noon, brokers would call, liquidation advised. We hit the loft by 10 a.m. News helicopters chopping overhead. TV blared. Hayes family implodes at graduation. Billionaire betrayal. My face pixelated. But Ethan's clear. Valedictorian turned whistleblower. He crashed on the couch. Scrolling reactions. Hayes' downfall trending. Memes of Richard's rage face captioned, when Karen meets her match. Lunch was pizza greasy.
Grounding.
Mia cracked jokes. Your life's a Tarantino flick. Missing the foot massage scene. Laughter bubbled.
Tentative.
Normalcy's ghost. Afternoon. Calls flooded. Lena from Sequoia. Genius. Stocks up 15% on the drama. Senators emailing. Worker rights allies. Harlan. Cashing his check. Clean. Enjoy the view. Ethan's phone buzzed. Classmates. Congrats mixed with shade. He ignored. Focusing on me. Stanford deferral? Or, we build something.
We.
The word warmed. Build. Gig Forge Campus, Seattle HQ. Your internship starts Monday. Grin split his face. Boss lady. Dusk fell bloody. Sun dipping into the sound. Reporters camped below. We ordered Thai. Barricaded. Ethan slept early. Exhaustion's toll. Mia and I debriefed on the balcony. City lights winking like conspirators. Regrets? She asked. Wine glass dangling. 1. The crash memory flickered. Rain. Failure.
End.
Wasted 3 years playing nice. She bumped my shoulder.
Nah.
Built this. Gesture encompassing. Empire. Brother.
Us.
Night deepened. Sleep evaded. I paced. Laptop glowing. Final logs. Richard arrested. Obstruction.
Threats.
Bail denied. Evelyn sedated. 72-hour hold. Their condo raided. Dockside seated. Sealing fates. Dawn broke clear. Unusual for Seattle. Ethan woke ravenous. We brunch-ed crepes. Planning. Therapy, he suggested. For real this time. Smart kid. Group? Us too.
Deal.
By noon, the world shifted. Gig Forge board convened virtual, me unmasked. Finally. Brooklyn Hayes, I announced.
Cheers.
Shares hit $110. Richard's trial loomed fall. Federal. I'd testify.
Truth serum.
Evelyn, plea deal. Community service at the shelters she'd faked loving. Ethan chose. Change last name? To Hayes, mine. Not theirs.
Ours.
Whatever you want. He shrugged. Brooklyn sounds badass. Laughter echoed. Months blurred into healing's haze. Summer, road trip, me. Ethan. Mia, Route 66 Redux. Stops at diners and dunes. No plans. Just smiles. Ethan opened up. The neglect. The pressure. Thought I was the favorite. Till I saw you bleed for it. Bled. I echoed. Grand Canyon vast below. Figuratively. The crash. I knew. Brooke. Hacked the mechanics logs. Too scared to act. Forgiveness washed. Canyon deep. Now you do. Fall. Stanford orientation. I dropped him. Tearless hugs. Call weekly. Promises. Gig Forge boomed. Equity program national model. Obama-era whispers of policy nods. Controversies? Faded. I dated Sirius, a engineer. Shared scars. Mia launched her studio. My seed money. Thanksgiving. Our table me.
Mia?
Her folks. Ethan's FaceTime from Cali. No haze ghosts. Turkey carved. Toasts to chosen blood. Richard sentencing. 20 months. White collar wing. Evelyn probation. Volunteering real. Letters arrived. Apologies. Crocodile. I burned them. Christmas. Loft lit. Tree absurd. Ethan home. Gifts wrapped, for him. A startup kit, his AI ethics venture. Build better, I said. He hugged fierce. We did. New Year. Fireworks over the sound. Resolutions unspoken. Death's gift. Second chance.
Claimed.
But twist lingered. Quiet. In rehab logs. Leaked accidental. Evelyn's journal. Loved her once. Feared her more. Richard's cell scribbles. Proud. Damn it. Human. After all. Mercy. Belated. I stood balcony. Wind sharp. Empire at my feet. Not triumph's roar, but peace's whisper. Reborn. Unbowed. The end?
Nah.
Just chapter 2.